The 1983 World Series was the championship series of Major League Baseball's 1983 season. The 80th edition of the World Series. It was a best-of-7 playoff played between the American League champion Baltimore Orioles and the National League champion Philadelphia Phillies. The Orioles won 4-1. The I-95 series, like the World Series 2 years later, also took its nickname from the interstate that the teams and fans traveled on, Interstate 95 in this case. This was the last World Series that Bowie Kuhn presided over as commissioner. This is Baltimore's most recent World Series championship, and also their most recent appearance in the World Series. This was the first World Series since 1956 in which the teams did not use air travel, as Baltimore and Philadelphia are approximately 100 miles apart. It was the Phillies' second World Series appearance in 4 years. It would be 10 years before they would appear in the Fall Classic again and 25 years before they would win another. The Orioles were led by first-year manager Joe Altobelli, who succeeded Earl Weaver. Weaver retired to the broadcast booth after a 16-year managerial run from 1968 to 1982. Altobelli inherited a lineup led by first baseman Eddie Murray, who finished second in the '83 MVP voting, and shortstop Cal Ripken, Jr., who outpointed Murray, and won the 1983 MVP. Veteran outfielder Ken Singleton settled into the DH role, while the rest of the team was a core of platoon players. The Orioles finished first in the AL in team home runs with 168, first in OBP 340, and second in runs, doubles, and walks. After winning 15 games in '82, 37-year-old pitcher Jim Palmer started only 11 games in '83, winning 5 and losing 4. He won 1 game in this World Series and would be released by the O's at the beginning of '84 after struggling early, retiring shortly afterwards. A younger staff headed by 18-game winner Scott McGregor and 25-year-old Mike Bowker were flanked by 21-year-old Storm Davis and veteran Mike Flanagan. Reliever Tippy Martinez posted a career high with 21 saves, while Sammy Stewart added 9 wins out of the bullpen as the O's pitching led the AL in shutouts with 15 and was second in wins with 98 and ERA with 3.63. The Orioles won the American League East by 6 games over the Detroit Tigers. They then defeated the Chicago White Sox 3-1 in the American League Championships. The average age of the players on the Phillies roster was 32 years. They were aptly nicknamed the Whiz Kids, a contrast to the 1950 Phillies team whose average age of 26 years earned them the moniker Whiz Kids. Sports writers in Philadelphia joked at the time that this older team emphasized the veteran in their home ballpark, Veterans Stadium. The Phillies were trying to win Philadelphia its second world title of the year as the Philadelphia 76ers had won the NBA title back in June, as well as their second championship in 4 seasons, having won the 1980 World Series. Joining 42-year-old first baseman Pete Rose were his Cincinnati Reds teammates from the Big Red Machine era, first baseman Tony Perez and second baseman Joe Morgan. The team was led offensively by 33-year-old Mike Schmidt, who would have another MVP-type year with 40 home runs and 109 RBIs. No other teammate would hit over 16 home runs or drive in over 64 runs. Although veteran pitcher Steve Carlton won his 300th major league game during the regular season, he actually had a mediocre year at 15-16, his first losing season since 1973 when his record was 13-20. In his first full season with Philadelphia, John Denny would win the Cy Young Award with a league-leading 19-6 record, and a 2.37 ERA, winning 13 of his last 14 decisions. Closer Al Holland would finish second in the league with 25 saves and win the NL Rhodes Relief Award. A pair of relief pitchers, 40-year-old Ron Reed and 38-year-old Tug McGraw, were on the active roster, but McGraw would not see any World Series action. The Phillies outpaced their interstate rivals, the Pittsburgh Pirates, by 6 games to win their 5th National League East Division title in 8 years. This was followed by a 3-1 victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League Championship Series. It was only the 4th league championship for the Phillies in franchise history. John Denver, whose Thank God I'm a Country Boy was played at the 7th inning stretch of each Orioles home game, sang the national anthem. Phillies starter John Denny gave up a first-inning homer to Jim Dwyer, but that would be it for the Orioles as 40-year-old Joe Morgan tied it with a home run in the 6th off Scott McGregor. Morgan became the second oldest man to hit a home run in the World Series. Ino's Slaughter was just a few months older than Morgan when he hit one for the New York Yankees in the 1956 World Series. Gary Maddox led off the eighth with a home run off McGregor for the final margin. Then he got the win with relief help from ace Al Holland. The top of the seventh inning of Game 1 was delayed due to Howard Cosell's in what would be his last World Series assignment. He was removed by ABC before the next World Series. The network carried an 1985 interview with President Reagan on ABC. Some observers such as author and journalist George Will believe that the delay ultimately made McGregor cold to the point of him giving up the home run to Maddox. McGregor would eventually redeem himself as he was the winning pitcher in a complete game in the clinching Game 5. Ronald Reagan's visit marked the 12th time that a chief executive had attended a World Series game. The Orioles' loss in Game 1 marked the first time in 6 World Series that they had lost the first game. Bowie went the distance, striking out 6 and walking no one. He allowed only 3 hits and 1 run. A fourth-inning sacrifice fly by Joe LaFaber. The O's got their runs in the 5th on a John Lowenstein homer, a Rick Dempsey RBI double, and a sacrifice fly by Bowie, helping his own cause. Cal Ripken added an RBI single in the 7th. When the Phillies benched Pete Rose in favor of Tony Perez in Game 3, it ended a streak in which Rose played every inning of his 59 previous postseason games. This would be the final postseason game ever played at Memorial Stadium. Steve Carlton became the first 300-game winner to pitch in a World Series in 55 years. Grover Cleveland Alexander was the last. Carlton shut out the Orioles through 5 innings, buoyed by homers from Gary Matthews and Joe Morgan. The Orioles cut the lead to 1 in the 6th on a homer by Dan Ford. In the bottom of the 6th, the Phillies had 2 on and 2 outs with Carlton coming up to bat. Philly manager Paul Owens went to the on-deck circle to chat with Carlton about staying in the game. Carlton said he was fine, but struck out for the final out. Carlton looked to be cruising with 2 outs in the 7th, but Rick Dempsey belted a double and went to third on a wild pitch. Benny Ayala pinch hit and singled home Dempsey to tie it. Al Holland relieved Carlton to try to close out the inning, but John Shelby singled Ayala to put runners at first and second. Ayala scored the go-ahead run from second on an error by shortstop Evendiges on a ball hit by Ford. Long-time Oriole pitching hero Jim Palmer got the win in relief as he, Sammy Stewart, and Tippy Martinez pitched 6 shutout innings in relief of Mike Flanagan. This win by Palmer, along with his first World Series win in 1966, marks the longest span, 17 years, over World Series wins for an individual pitcher in Major League history. Jim Palmer's win in Game 3 made him the only pitcher to win the World Series game in 3 different decades. Palmer is also the only man to have played with the Orioles in each of their World Series appearances: 66, 69, 70, 71, 79 and 83. With Palmer and Carlton earning the decisions, this was the last World Series game in which both the winning and losing pitcher were in the Hall of Fame until 1992. It was the first World Series game in which 3 Cy Young Award winners, Carlton, Palmer and Orioles starter Mike Flanagan, pitched. This would not happen again until Game 1 of the 2012 series, when Barry Zito, Tim Lincecum and Justin Verlander appeared. Rich Dower broke a scoreless tie by singling in 2 runs in the 4th off John Denny. The Phillies came back in the 4th off Storm Davis with an RBI double by Joe LaFaber and took the lead in the 5th on an RBI single by Denny and an RBI double by Pete Rose. In the top of the 6th with 1 out, John Lowenstein singled and Dower doubled him to third. O's manager Joe Altobelli then sent Joe Nolan, the first of 4 consecutive pinch hitters, to the plate. Phil's reliever Willie Hernandez walked Nolan to load the bases. The next pinch hitter, Ken Singleton, walked as well to force in Lowenstein with the tying run. Finally, John Shelby, hitting for Storm Davis, hit a sacrifice fly to put the O's ahead 4-3. The Orioles added an insurance run in the 7th on an RBI single by Dower, who would collect 3 hits and 3 RBIs. The Phillies would get no closer than a single run in the 9th, as Tippy Martinez got his 2nd save of the series. The crowd of 67,000 in Veterans Stadium was the biggest for the World Series since Game 3 in New York in 1964. This is the last World Series game with a scheduled daytime start played under sunny skies. Game 4 of the 1984 World Series was played under overcast skies at Tiger Stadium, and Game 6 of the 1987 World Series, the last World Series game with a daytime start, was played indoors at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. Throughout this series, both teams' big gun hitters had been held in check. Mike Schmidt was 1 for 16, while Eddie Murray was 2 for 16. In this game, however, Murray snapped out of it by belting 2 home runs and driving in 3 runs. Rick Dempsey, who would be named MVP, also homered and doubled and scored 2 runs. Scott McGregor pitched a complete game, 5-hit shutout to give the Orioles the championship. It was Cal Ripken Jr. who made the final put out of the series. The Phillies finished this series with a team batting average of .95, with no one having a worse series than Schmidt, going a paltry 1 for 20 and overall the lowest average for a World Series team since the 1974 Oakland Athletics. The winning Orioles hit only .231 in the series. The Philadelphia Eagles were originally scheduled to play the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday, October 16, at Veterans Stadium. Because of the scheduling conflict, the Eagles and the Cowboys, who were scheduled for 2 games against each other because they were in the same division, played on that day on the Cowboys' field, Texas Stadium.